Hi guys, my name is Kacy Becker, and today I'm going to be talking to you about ocean pollution. First, I'd like to start off by explaining exactly what ocean pollution really is, and then kind of give you guys a background on it so you can get a deeper understanding and you can really understand what we're going to be talking about and get why it's important. Then I'd like to discuss the significance of it, why it's important to environmental and public health, why it's important to me, and why I feel like it's a topic that needs to be discussed. Then I'm going to explain all the different things that pollute the ocean and go in depth with each of them. So some of these things include plastic, toxic waste, oil, and fertilizers. After that, I'd love to tell you guys what you can do to help, how you can help stop ocean pollution, what you can do today, and the little steps you can take that would go a long way. Then I'll wrap it up with a summary of the presentation just to kind of conclude everything, and I'll answer a few questions at the end that are commonly asked about ocean pollution, so hopefully those will help you guys as well. Okay, so what exactly is ocean pollution? Ocean pollution is the contamination of oceans with plastic, oil, fertilizers, and toxic waste. Most of the time, ocean pollution begins on land, but the runoff flows to the sea. 80% of pollution in the ocean is actually from the land, but it's a common misunderstanding. Lots of people do not realize that this is where it comes from. This means that if we clean up our beaches, we would therefore be cleaning up our oceans. It would be better for us to try to prevent the problem from happening by cleaning up the beaches first, rather than having to deal with the mess later and trying to clean up our oceans, when it would be a lot easier to just clean up the beaches, because cleaning up oceans is no easy job. So some ocean pollution background. One thing that's important in the background is that there are lots of items that pollute the ocean. However, the biggest contributor to ocean pollution is plastic. Billions of tons of litter end up in the ocean each year. More than 250 million tons of trash is generated. Ocean pollution is causing marine life to quickly die out, which is one of the many reasons why we need to take action, and we need to take action today. In the past few decades, ocean pollution has greatly increased. Actually, in the last decade alone, we've been at an all-time high for ocean pollution. That's really bad. So why is ocean pollution significant? Why is it significant enough that I'm talking to you guys about it today? Well, ocean pollution is significant to environmental and public health because of many reasons. Some of these reasons include: 1, it is causing harm to marine life and endangering some species, including Pacific loggerhead sea turtles, sperm whales, Hawaiian monk seals, and more. 2, over 1 million seabirds are killed by ocean pollution each year. It is vital that society starts to make changes to alleviate ocean pollution before we completely destroy our oceans or cause any other animals to become endangered, or worse, we don't want to cause any animals to become extinct. That would be horrible. The first type of pollution that I'm going to talk to you guys about in depth is plastic, because it is the most common and abundant form in the ocean. I'm also going to focus primarily on this one because it is what we impact the most. We play the biggest part in plastic polluting the oceans, and we can also make the biggest change if we choose to, because we have that power. Plastic can be extremely harmful to the environment because it cannot be broken down easily. A plastic bag actually has a life expectancy of 1,000 years. 1,000 years, that's crazy. A plastic bottle can last more than 450 years. Foam plastic cups take 50 years. This shows how long plastic lasts in the ocean and keeps building up, adding more and more while none of it is degrading or leaving. There is actually enough plastic thrown away each year to circle the earth 4 times. Another big concern with plastic is marine life often mistakes it for food. They cannot tell the difference between food and litter, and this often causes them their life. Plastic absorbs toxic chemicals and can poison whatever eats it. Absorption from pollutants of plastic transfer into the tissues and organs of marine life through ingestion. Plastic pollutants is one of the most serious threats to the ocean and #1 source of pollution in the ocean. It has been estimated that there is a minimum of 5.25 trillion particles weighing 268,940 tons of plastic. floating around in the oceans today. That is an insanely large amount. Plastic cannot completely degrade either. Instead, it breaks down into smaller pieces, but it never fully disappears. This means that our oceans just keep piling more and more, and it never really goes anywhere. It is a huge health threat to marine life, which is another reason why we need to stop ocean pollution today. The next significant source of pollution in our oceans that I would like to talk about is oil pollution. Oil is the fastest source of deterioration to the ocean. It is more harmful than both trash and waste. Oil is one of the most dangerous pollutants in our oceans because of this. Oil can destroy the ability to insulate for mammals with fur, such as sea otters or birds. It hurts them tremendously to take away that ability. They depend on it for survival, and if there's too much oil or any oil at all in the oceans, then it completely takes away their ability to insulate. It is actually commonly believed that all oil pollution in oceans comes from oil spills alone. However, that's not the case at all. Only about 12% of oil in the ocean comes from actual oil spills, which is a relatively small percentage compared to what most people think it would be. The oil that is mostly found in oceans that causes harm to marine life the most is from drainage on land. Remember earlier how I talked about how most of the pollution in oceans comes from land? Well, oil is a prime example of that. Oil affects marine life by suffocating them to death. That is so horrible and cruel and painful. It can also change the entire ecosystem in the area which the oil was spilled, and it can cause several behavioral changes. This can be extremely detrimental to animals around it and to the entire ecosystem as a whole. The next type of pollution I am going to talk about are fertilizers. So most people do not realize that fertilizers pollute the oceans, but they are a danger to marine life that constantly is polluting our oceans every day. Fertilizer runoff creates a rapid increase in the population of algae and aquatic systems, which depletes the oxygen content in the waters that affects marine life. So whenever it rains, there is a significant increase in fertilizer runoff going into our oceans. This means that whenever it rains, our oceans get more and more polluted. So we really need to figure out a way to be able to stop fertilizer runoff from flowing into the ocean, especially when it is raining. When fertilizer runoff reaches the ocean, the high levels of nitrogen that the fertilizers are carrying are released into the water. This can cause some algae to explode in growth. Algae exploding into growth is actually a very dangerous thing that we do not want to happen, because this causes the algae to release harmful toxins that can harm marine life in a significant amount. This intense algae growth will eventually die down. However, even after it has died down, it will still take several years for the ecosystem to become healthy and back to its normal self again. The last component that I would be talking about today that pollutes the oceans is toxic waste. So, toxic waste is a material that is capable of causing death, injury, and even birth defects. Something is considered toxic waste if it is radioactive, explosive, if it contains chemicals, if it's poisonous, etc. It can be found in household, office, and even commercial waste. Some examples of toxic waste include batteries, cell phones, pesticides, computers. A lot of people actually don't realize that computers and cell phones cause toxic waste, and that they can really damage our ecosystems. It's really not that common in knowledge. A lot of people that I know, I asked them if they knew this, and none of them even knew. However, the majority of toxic waste that is found in our oceans is actually uranium. But because people don't really know about phones and computers, that causes even more damage because they're not careful about how they throw them away. They just think, it's no big deal, when that's actually not the case at all. Toxic metals are commonly found in oceans, and they can destroy the biochemistry, they can destroy the behavior, the reproduction, and even the growth in marine life. So what can you do to stop ocean pollution and to help keep our oceans clean? So, some things we can do as a society, and you can do individually. You can start them today, and it will help us end ocean pollution. Some of these things include recycling. Recycle, 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 recycle. I can't repeat it enough. It is so important, and it is important that you do it the right way. And it can be as easy as just keeping a recycling bin around, you know, being conscientious of where to put plastic bottles, you know, not just throwing them away, knowing to take care of them, that they go into a different place. A lot of trash cans in public places have like the waste hole or the plastic hole or the aluminum, and even just like taking the time to put them in the right spot is so important. Another thing that really helps is reducing your use of plastics. So when you go to the store, you know, a lot of times you get asked paper or plastic. Even just choosing paper can be a huge step. Also, invest in a reusable water bottle rather than using a different plastic water bottle every single day. That can add up, you know, that really does add up. Or even like the water fountains we have at ECU, where they have, at the top, they have how much water we've saved, and you refill your water bottle rather than constantly getting a new one. That's great. Steps like that is so big, and I'm so proud of ECU for doing that. Another thing you can do is support bans on plastic bags and plastic straws and stuff like that, because if you support bans, then you're setting a great example for everybody else. You know, you're informing people, you're spreading awareness, and you're leading. You know, you're being a leader, and that's great. That's a huge thing you could do. Another thing is to do a beach cleanup or even like a river cleanup. They have them pretty much monthly. You can find them wherever you are, if you're close to a beach or a river or a lake or anything like that. You get some of your friends together, make a fun day out of it. It's really rewarding, and it goes a long way. One beach cleanup can go a very long way. And the last thing you can do is to spread the word. You know, knowledge is power, and telling your friends, your families, even your peers, just to kind of educate them, you know, let them know, hey, this is a big problem. That can go a long way too. Just getting the topic out there is very, very important. So, in conclusion, ocean pollution is the contamination of oceans with plastic, oil, fertilizers, and toxic waste. It is a very serious matter, and everyone should know about it. So, ocean pollution is something that we as a society need to stop before we completely ruin our oceans and cause more animals to become endangered or even go extinct. And we're a lot closer to this than we like to believe. It's becoming a very fast-growing problem, and we need to put an end to it now. Some key points from this presentation include plastic pollution is the most common and most dangerous, and it's also the one that we affect the most. So please be conscientious about your use of plastic and where you put them next time, and you know, just please try your best not to use them and to spread awareness. Another key point is that there has been several species that have already become endangered because of ocean pollution, and a lot of them are even on the verge of extinction. And the last key point is that there are several things that we as a society and individually can do every day to help reduce ocean pollution. So I hope my presentation was informative and helpful, and it got you thinking a little bit about ocean pollution, you know, the things it can cause, and thank you very much for listening to it. So to finish up, I wanted to answer some questions, since I can't actually be there for the presentation to answer any questions that the class might have. I went ahead and I looked up some commonly asked questions, so, you know, regarding ocean pollution, and then I just tried to answer them to the best of my ability based on the research that I did. So I'll go ahead and start those. Okay, so the first one was, what do you do about people in your social circle who are not willing to make these behavioral changes? So obviously you can't force anybody to change, you know, you can't make them take on this challenge, you can't make them understand, but, you know, you can do your best to educate them. And I would say just continue to educate them on the harms and the negative outcomes that come from ocean pollution, and maybe show them some examples or show them some pictures of animals with plastic around their beaks, around their mouths, or there's like all these pictures with turtles with plastic around their bodies, and how, you know, it kills them and it can really damage them, and it's really sad to look at. And make changes in front of them, like even just recycling, or if you choose paper bags over plastic and stuff like that, your actions will speak for itself. So if they see you doing that and some of your other friends doing that, then, you know, hopefully they'll eventually follow suit, and they'll realize that, you know, this is an important thing. But like I said, you can't force anybody to do it, so just try your best. Another question is, how much do plastic straws contribute to pollution in the ocean? So actually, plastic straws don't contribute as much as most people think. They actually contribute a very small amount. It's less than 1%. It's about 0.03%. Which is a very small amount, but they're still really important, and it's really important that we pay attention to them and we still prevent them from, entering the oceans, and we still don't use them anymore, because any plastic still is contributing, and that's not good at all. That's what we're really, really trying hard to cut out. So even plastic straws, it might be a small percentage, but it goes a long way. And then the last question was, what is plastic waste management? So plastic waste management is the process of composting, recycling, getting rid of plastics. Anything you can think of to get rid of plastics is basically what that is. It improves the help of preventing plastics from entering the oceans, and it's really just to help prevent things from entering the ocean. That's basically just what it's called. Plastic waste management is just preventing plastic from entering the ocean. So I hope my presentation helped, and thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you guys have a great day.